Hello. I forgot to mark it. What are we? Video 36. How quickly can I find it? That was video 35. This is video 36. Guess what? We're going to talk about some Python. How are we going to do, oh no, how are we going to do output? I was just faking being oh no and afraid. You already know how to do that. You did that for your fun fact program. This is printing to the screen. Here's the format for that. Print, the word print, and then parentheses, in pointing brackets here, output list. Where output list is whatever you want it to be to print out on the screen. So I've got print, open parentheses, output list token, close parentheses. What's the effect of that? Well, it prints it on the screen. I'm not even going to glorify that by doing an effect. I'm going to jump immediately to an example. If you want me to write down the effect, I guess I could come back and do that in the future video. Example, dollars equals 3. We know what that is. That's an assignment statement. We've seen those. Here's a print statement. Print, open parentheses, I have only, and I'll put a dollar sign to make it look like money, and close double quotes. I have only dollar sign, it says. And then I put comma, because it's an output list. I can put several things to print out in a row. But the next thing I want to print out is the value of variable dollars. That's not in a string. So I've got to put comma and then just plain old dollars without any double quotes, and then I'll start another string. I have only $9, another comma, and then in my pocket. That's not even true. I don't have any money at all. Close double quote, close parentheses. You'll have to take my word for it. That's what it is over there. I ran out of space. Close double quote, parentheses. I have only, in double quotes, comma, variable dollars, comma, again, double quotes again, another string, in my pocket. What does this do? A trace. What does it do when we run this on the computer? Well, it's got a variable called dollars, sets to 3, and the output. This trace actually has more than just a variable to keep up with. It has stuff that we need to predict what's going to show up on the screen. When it gets to this line, it's going to print out, I have only dollar sign. And then it's printed out that string. Then it has to look up the value of variable dollars. The current value is 3. I have only dollar sign 3 in my pocket. There's not a whole lot more to say about this except that notice it prints out strings verbatim. It prints them out literally. It's even called a literal string. Printed out exactly the way I typed it inside the double quotes. If you leave something out of double quotes, the system, Python system, believes that you're asking it to do a variable lookup, and in fact we are. Look up the value of dollars and put that out next. And then we close off with another string over there, and we could keep going. You could have any number of things to print out. Variables and strings, all intermixed. Okay, that's output. And I hope that's enough, for now at least. Input. This is reading stuff from the keyboard. How am I going to read stuff in? I'll even write that down. We haven't looked at these before. Reading from the keyboard. Board has a B, not a P. Reading from the keyboard. The format. The skeletal version that must be filled in. Variable, in pointy brackets, close pointy brackets, equals, you are right. This is a special case of an assignment statement. What's the expression over here? Input, I-N-P-U-T. And then in parentheses, we'll put a special string called a prompt, P-R-O-M-P-T. That's a pretty involved looking format. I don't know about this. On the left, we have a variable. We've got a single equal sign. This is a reserved word. I'm going to call it that, but really it's not. This is a word that we do not want to rename to be a variable or anything else. Input. Okay, what is it? If I'm stop being coy. Input and print are invocations of library routines. Remember what a library is in the role of software development? Input, it's going to run over and run a little miniature input program to read from the keyboard and get back to us with whatever it got from the keyboard. Prompt is the string it's going to print on the screen so that our fearless user knows what they're supposed to do next. Otherwise, it's just going to have a blinking cursor and they're not going to know what's supposed to happen. The effect of this, E-F-F-E-C-T. The effect is prompt. This is in sequence, by the way. Prompt is printed to the screen or printed on the screen. How's that? The computer waits for the next value typed at the keyboard now it's not going to see it until you hit the magic key followed by the enter key. The computer waits for the next value typed at the keyboard followed by enter, and I'll put enter in pointy brackets. That's the key you press. The value typed at the keyboard. This is an assignment statement. Here we come. The value typed at the keyboard. Technically, it's the value of the right-hand expression here. That's an expression. The value of that expression is what they typed in before they pressed enter. I'm not going to write all that. The value typed at the keyboard becomes the new value of variable. Well, wait, hang on. Becomes the new string. And I'll even underline that. It's read in as a string no matter what it looks like. You could type in 1, 2, 3 and it reads that in as a string of characters. The value typed at the keyboard becomes the new string value of variable. That was a mouthful. And I don't have any room for an example, but we already know all about output, so output can go away. In your notes, it's probably best not to go back up your page. Down below this, let's do an example of using input to read something from the keyboard. Example. Age, whoops, not age. Let's not do that. I'm going to hold off on numbers for a little bit. Status equals input, parentheses. How are you? Question mark. Now, a convention, I don't know that it's a strongly held convention, but it's still a convention to put a colon. That kind of prompts our user, it lets our user know, I'm ready for you to type something now. So I'm going to put how are you question mark colon and then close off my quotes. And that's enough. That's enough to do a trace. Starting with output, the weird thing, the first thing that's done when it hits this statement is print to the screen. It's going to print how are you? And a question mark and a colon. And let the cursor blink over there. And I guess for now we'll just say, okay, not very enthusiastically. But if all we type is an O and a K, then it's not going to see that. So I'm going to put this little arrow here to represent pressing the enter key. When I do that, press the enter key, then all of a sudden, this whole input thing over here, that expression has a value. The value is the string OK. That becomes the value of variable status. S-T-A-T-U-S, now has value OK. And we read that in from the keyboard into a variable. What could be simpler? Probably a bunch of stuff. But that'll do for now. I held off reading age because age is reading numbers. That's a little bit different. So I'm going to give that perhaps at least the beginning of the next video, if not a video of its own. And I'll see you online.